The changes in retirement ages have left people confused about the timing of their Social Security and their Medicare benefits. In the past, when you took Medicare at age 65, you could have easily been enrolling in Social Security as well. But these were universal start dates, but it's not the full retirement age for Social Security anymore. In fact, there's probably many of us on this call whose full retirement age is age 66 or 67. And many of my clients even choose to delay taking their Social Security until age 70. So if you're asking, can I take my health insurance at age 65, but wait on my Social Security benefits to let them grow? The answer is yes. Medicare and Social Security are not linked, but there are some hidden logistics that you should be aware of so that you don't get hit with a bill or a penalty that you weren't expecting. So first, let's talk about the how. If you were already taking Social Security, let's assume that maybe you enrolled early at age 62, the government would just mail you a Medicare card at age 65. You'd automatically be enrolled. But because you're waiting until full retirement age, maybe it's 67, as some of my clients are maybe delaying till age 70, the government doesn't know you want Medicare yet, and you have to tell them. So you can go to ssa.gov during your initial enrollment period, which is a 7-month period, 3 months before you turn age 65, the month that you turn age 65, and 3 months after. And what you do is you apply for the Medicare only option. And it's a specific option that's on the application, so you'll see it. And don't miss this window, because if you do miss this window and you don't have what's considered creditable coverage, either privately or maybe through your employer, you could face permanent late enrollment penalties. And so you don't want to do that. So let's talk about Medicare and the individual components of Medicare. First, we've got Medicare Part A, which is the skilled hospital stay coverage. And you get this premium free because it's what you paid for in your working years. It was automatically deducted from your paychecks. Then is Medicare Part B, and this is your regular medical coverage. Your doctor's visits, your just a regular health care. And this combines with Medicare A that you're automatically enrolled in to form what we call original Medicare. And often people also purchase some supplemental coverages from private insurance carriers to cover the deductibles and the extra costs that are not covered by Medicare. Maybe even for their eye or their ear or their dental coverage. So you have Medicare Part A, you've got Medicare Part B, but then you can also opt in for something called Medicare C. And this is better known as Medicare Advantage, which is a comprehensive coverage that is offered through private insurance companies. So it offers both the A and the B, replaces both of those, as well as your the extra coverages that you might have, your dental, your eye, and your ear. Again, it is a replacement for original Medicare. Now, most of my clients tend to enroll in original Medicare Part A, Part B, and then their supplemental coverages through the private insurance carriers. Now, you've got A or B or C. Part D is your prescription drug coverage, and it is pretty specialized coverage, again, through private insurance companies. And so what I typically suggest is that folks take a look at specialists here, because C is a comprehensive approach to your drug coverage, but it also is very specific to the private insurance carrier that you have. Every private insurance carrier has a specialized what's called formulary or methodology for reimbursing each individual drug. So what you'd like to do is match your drug coverage to the right formulary offered by a company. And lots of times that requires some specialized help. So you can consult an advisor here for that. Again, you want to enroll because if you go 63 days or more without creditable drug coverage after your initial enrollment period, you'll have a late enrollment period for as long as you have Medicare. Again, it's permanent. So the bottom line is that the transition from private coverage, whether it's state ACA coverage or your employer coverage, for most people to transition to Medicare, it's usually a relief because the costs are predictable, your premiums, and then the reimbursement is predictable. So it really is the anchor to healthcare in your retirement. Very, very important anchor for your healthcare coverage. Again, because healthcare tends to be one of the largest expenses that we have in retirement. Now, there are two considerations here. There's a few things that do catch people off guard. Usually Medicare B premiums are deducted from your Social Security check. But if you're not taking Social Security, if you're delaying it, then there's no check. And so nothing to deduct from. So what will happen is you'll get a bill in the mail, and it usually comes from a group called CMS, and it's quarterly. And you'll have to pay this out of pocket via either a check or a credit card, or even enrolling in Medicare Easy Pay online to keep your coverage active. And in 2026, the standard Part B premium is $202.90. So expect a bill on a quarterly basis for a little over $600. Now, if your income is higher, and for individuals, that's $109,000, you could get hit with something called a surcharge, an IRRMA surcharge, IRRMA. And the surcharge ranges anywhere from $81 a month to as much as $487 a month. And that is income driven. So as your income goes up, so does your IRRMA surcharge. So it's not a small surcharge, and it's well worth paying attention to your taxable income to avoid these surcharges if you can, because they can amount to tens of thousands of dollars over a 20 or 30-year retirement period. You do have several tax pockets to pull from in retirement. And so if you have questions here about how to build a retirement paycheck that is IRRMA friendly, feel free to look at, we've talked about this in previous YouTube videos, but we also would be happy to consult with you on an individual basis, and you can sign up in the comments section. Now, the other thing to be aware of is what we call the HSA trap. If you're delaying Social Security because you're still working and you have a health savings account, once you sign up for any part of Medicare, even if it's just Medicare Part A, the hospitalization, you can no longer contribute to your HSA. If you keep putting money in, the IRS will come knocking with a little bit of a tax penalty. So most experts suggest that you stop contributing to your HSA about 6 months before you enroll into Medicare, just to stay safe. So this particular part of your retirement planning, your healthcare planning, this is usually just a sigh of relief, because again, healthcare being one of the most expensive parts of your retirement, once you get enrolled in Medicare, you have stated expenses that you can count on. And it really is a relief. And it really does de-risk a lot of your healthcare considerations in retirement. So then let's move on to, if I'm going to take my Medicare, why wouldn't I just enroll for Social Security? It seems like it'd be much simpler, right? And that's true. And it could be. But there are costs to taking Social Security early. And again, because universal enrollment in Medicare is 65, and yet for a lot of us, in order to get our full retirement benefit, we have to wait until age 67. then there will be a penalty enrolling in both of us in both of those over and above your full retirement age. So let's take a look at the impact of taking Social Security at different ages, just to fully understand what that impact is. If you want to be an early bird and start at age 62, because this is the earliest you can claim Social Security, and it is a popular choice, but it does come down with some early filing penalties. Now, the pros are that you get the money today, and that might be exactly what you need to do to allow yourself to retire early and to pay your bills. And this also is ideal for people who have real health concerns and they think that their life expectancy is going to be a little bit shorter. But the reality is if you take it at 62 over your full retirement age of 67, there's about a 30% reduction in your full retirement benefit. The other penalty is that if you continue to work while collecting Social Security at age 62, the Social Security Administration will withhold one of every $2 of benefits if you earn more than $24,480. So for those who need the income to retire early or have a reason to believe they won't reach what we would call a break-even point of taking the higher benefit at full retirement, which is usually around 78 or 80, well, then taking it at age 62 could make some sense. Now, the second age consideration is starting what we call the Goldilocks age. It's age 67, where you get your full retirement benefits. Now, the pros are, of course, you're going to receive 100% of your primary insurance amount. And you also avoid the earnings test if you choose to continue to work. You can earn as much as you want and continue to take your full Social Security benefit. But the cons are that if you delayed it even longer, you're going to miss out on an 8% annual growth that is guaranteed for your Social Security benefit. So this is actually better for people who are just ready to stop working and need the Social Security benefit, or they just want a more balanced payout. I don't want to wait until 70 or even, but I don't have to take it at age 65. So that's the other. You get your full retirement benefit at age 67. But waiting past 67 is if you want to maximize your retirement benefit, because if you delay past 67, you get something called a delayed retirement credit, and that is an 8% credit. It's a guaranteed 8% credit for every year you delay past age 67 or your full retirement age. And so that could be as much as 24% of an additional benefit, and that is guaranteed for the rest of your life. Now, the pro here is that it gives you that additional benefit for the rest of your life, but it also maximizes your survivor benefit if you were the higher earning spouse. So delaying means a lot for your spouse in the rest of their life as well. Now, the cons are that you have to fund this income that you're delaying from something. And it means that you will have to begin to withdraw on your retirement accounts absent the Social Security. So that sometimes feels a little bit uncomfortable for people to take their full income needs out of their retirement accounts. But this is actually best for people in really good health who do expect to live into their 80s and their 90s. Statistically, this age yields the highest lifetime total for the majority of people. So the key things to remember here in both of these decisions, the Medicare and the Social Security decision, is that they are separate. So regardless of when you decide to take Social Security, you can sign up for Medicare at age 65. There is a break-even point if you decide to delay your Social Security. And delaying it, generally, that break-even point is right around age 80. So you will have collected more money by then, by waiting until age 70, than if you had started at age 62. And also, another point to remember is your cost of living benefits are also associated with your retirement base. And so the higher your base, the higher your cost of living adjustments as well. So this is a consideration in when to take Social Security as well. Now, you've decided to delay your Social Security, and now you have to consider, where am I going to take my income? Because it's going to have to come from somewhere. And so let's talk about that as well. You've decided to delay your Social Security past age 65, and you're going to delay it all the way to age 70. Now that's 5 years. So let's assume that you're taking $8,000 per month for those 5 years. That's what you need to run your household. And so that's $8,000 per month for 5 years. That's $8,000 per month for 60 months. Or you're going to be withdrawing approximately $480,000. So this is a significant amount of money. And this probably won't work for folks whose savings are around $500,000. Probably for this to work, delaying your Social Security, the minimum portfolio would be right around $1 million or above, because that would allow you to separate $480,000, putting them into investments that are more income appropriate, and then taking the other 50% and giving it some exposure to growth-oriented assets, such as the market or other growth-oriented assets. So the point is to use some sort of combination of cash and bonds for the $500,000, and to time those investments to be available when you might need them. So about 50% in cash and bonds. Your bonds would be short-term government and corporate bonds, intermediate-term corporate and government bonds, and even long-term corporate and government bonds. You've got a portfolio now of 50% in stocks and 50% in bonds, and the bonds provide a lower volatility investment for the years that you actually will be drawing down on these assets to provide income for yourself. The yield from the bonds will probably give you a slightly greater rate of return than inflation. So they're a relatively good inflation offset with lower volatility. But then the stocks will give you a more substantial return and some opportunity to grow with a real return relative to inflation. So that 50-50 portfolio has both what you need in terms of income as well as some opportunity for growth. Now, where you hold these investments is also equally important, and where you take withdrawals from. So again, you want to, if possible, monitor this income, because as we said before, it will impact your Medicare premiums as well as these IRRMA surcharges. So I guess the point is that all of these decisions have to be made together, because they have significant consequences on one another. How to take Medicare, how to be sure to minimize your IRRMA surcharges, all are very important, because the IRRMA premiums can result in tens of thousands of dollars of increased expenses over your retirement. And when to take your Social Security is equally important, because a 30% reduction in your income over a 10 to 20 year period would be very significant. That can result in hundreds of thousands of dollars of differences in income over a 20 to 30 year retirement period. So based upon these decisions, when to take Social Security, when to take withdrawals, where to take those withdrawals from, how to position your portfolio to be sure your investments match the timing of your income needs. None of these decisions should be made in a vacuum. and a true modeling of them in advance, even as early as 10 years before your retirement, can be extremely helpful and give you a lot of comfort about the decisions that you're making, both in saving as you approach retirement and in creating income for yourself after retirement. So if you would like to see how we do that, how we do the modeling for our clients, I'd be happy to do that. You can schedule an appointment at the comments below. And we offer all of those kinds of evaluations on a complimentary basis. Again, Sally Boyle, our goal is to help you with education for your retirement, and even take it a step further if you would like to consult with us. Thanks.